I had a subscriber ask me to do a cold start video on this truck, my 1988 Chevrolet R30 Dump Truck. The last time I started this thing was about 2 weeks ago. I haven't driven it around my property in maybe 2 or 3 months. I do try to start it every 2 or 3 weeks and just let it run a little bit. The last time I started it, really every time I start it, I have to use starting fluid, a little bit in the carburetor. I hold the accelerator down a little bit, maybe about 30 seconds. Having a rough day out here. I got yellow jackets everywhere, so there must be a nest out here. I got mosquitoes everywhere tearing me up. Normally when I start this truck, I have to use starting fluid. I put a little bit in the carburetor, and then when the truck fires up, I have to hold the accelerator down for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Once the engine gets a little bit warm, it'll idle very good. It also runs pretty good. But this truck still needs a lot of work. These mosquitoes are driving me crazy. I'm going to try to do a cold start on this truck. Hopefully the battery is going to be strong enough. It started it okay 2 weeks ago. If it doesn't work, then I will charge it up and we'll try it again tomorrow night. So the previous owner of this truck, if you haven't watched my other videos on this truck, he did a TBI throttle body injection to carburetor swap. So he took off the old TBI, he put a Summit intake and a Summit carburetor on this truck. And when they put the new carburetor on there, they had the old rusty gas tanks. They sucked a bunch of rusty, nasty whatever into this carburetor, and then he let the truck sit for 2 years. So the carburetor was all gummed up. It was full of rust. I made a video, kind of. I did a cleaning job on this carburetor, and this truck runs pretty good. Sometimes it's a little tough to start it, but once you get it going, it runs good. I have not even finished working on this thing as far as, well, I got a couple of vacuum lines here that I need to hook up. And this truck, maybe you haven't seen my other video, I got a bunch of rats or mice. They've kind of made this place their home. This truck is pretty nasty. It needs a lot of work on the inside. I thought this would be easier to do with one hand. Oh, nice. All right, we just got run out by a yellow jacket. There's a nest around here somewhere. I haven't been able to find it. Oh wow, that clutch is hard. By the way, this thing leaks. The transmission leaks a lot. So you may hear, and the yellow jacket is back. Once I get this thing started and I let the clutch out, you're probably going to hear how loud the transmission is. But it's usually when I fill it up with fluid, it's not nearly as loud. Obviously it drives better also. Right now it may not even go into gear because it's been sitting here for probably 2 months, leaking out. Okay, let's try to start this thing. But we're going to go throw some starting fluid in here. My brother taught me a trick one time. I don't even take off the air filter anymore. I just spray it right through the air filter. All right, well, that was pretty disappointing. Normally, I put one little squirt of starting fluid in there and it fires right up. I hold the accelerator down for about 30 seconds to a minute and it will idle and purr pretty good. I think the problem is maybe it got flooded because I was rambling on trying to film things and I let the fuel pump run and it was forcing fuel into the carburetor. And also, I tried to start it for so long, it killed the battery. So what I'm going to do is charge the battery up tonight, and tomorrow we're going to try it again. I don't know how loud this engine is, so every time I start my truck I have to give it 2 or 3 shots of starting fluid, and I just spray it right into the air filter. I don't even take the air filter off anymore. I don't spray it directly into the carb. I just spray it right into the air filter. Then when I start the truck, I have to hold the accelerator down about 30 seconds. And once the engine gets a little bit warmed up, 30 seconds to 1 minute, it'll idle just fine. And really the rest of the day it'll run okay. It just seems to have a problem starting when the engine is really cold. I'm sure that's probably related to the carburetor. I've been using this truck around my property and it's been running pretty good. It still needs the timing adjusted. I'm missing one of the vacuum lines. I haven't even attached one of the vacuum lines from the new HEI distributor over here to the carburetor. I just haven't got around to doing it. I know the timing is not right. It also has a couple of exhaust leaks. I'm planning on putting new headers on this thing. This is an 88 and it had a bunch of emissions garbage on here. This thing right here, I don't know if you can see it back here, but it's just wide open. There's another one. It's very bright out here, so I can't even see what my camera is showing. But there's another one here. It's just wide open. So basically, when I'm running the engine, it's just blowing exhaust all over the place. That used to be tied into whatever the smog control emission stuff. I don't know, maybe I'll look it up and edit it into this video. So I'm planning on putting new headers on this and just getting rid of all that stuff at some point. I just haven't had the time or the money to really work on this thing lately. I don't know if you've seen my other videos, but we built a swimming pool out here, so that's what I've been focused on. Sadly, my dump truck, Cisco, has been neglected. I have been using it a little bit, but I have not put the time or the money into it that I wanted to. It's also been really hot. It's the middle of August right now. Maybe it's the beginning of August. Anyway, it's too hot to be out here working on this thing. Still got all this. I gotta get rid of all this mess here. You can see my configuration. I don't think I've ever showed this, but I've said 1,000 times, this was a TBI, throttle body injection to carburetor swap. So I had to put a fuel pressure regulator, and then I put me a fuel gauge on there. I also had to put this shutoff valve on here because even with this fuel pressure regulator, it's still getting way too much fuel pressure. The fuel pump is just, it's overpowering this pressure regulator. And I bought a decent one. I thought I got a pretty good one, but it's still overpowering it. So by putting this little shutoff valve on here, I'm able to kind of close it a little bit and help control the fuel pressure. Whatever, man. I got it running pretty good. It seems to have worked. I mean, once I got it to that position, it works. I stay somewhere between 4 to 6 PSI on the fuel pressure normally. So it took a minute to kind of get it set up, and now it seems to run pretty good. I've got so much work to do on this thing. All this wiring I got to get rid of that went to all the throttle body control and all the sensors and everything that was all over this engine. Now this truck is in way worse condition than I thought it was originally. I mean, we got the headlight tied on with wire. Yeah, this door completely, it's obviously been bondoed before. Rain just getting all in there. This thing is rough. Needs a new windshield. All the window seals are just complete garbage. It'll never be a show winner, but I really just want to get it dependable enough to drive around. I am going to weld something up here. I need to weld something up here to keep the dirt. I went through all this trouble to put a new fuel tank in here. Every time I load this thing up with dirt, it just gets all over here. And I don't I don't like that. I want my stuff to stay clean. So I'm thinking, I've seen some dump trucks still have a little cover up here. So I'm thinking I'll get some kind of metal or something and eventually weld it on there. So as you dump dirt into the dump truck, it'll land on that. Plus, it gets all over the roof of the truck. And I mean, there's dirt. Now this thing is very nasty inside. I haven't really done anything to the inside except take the dash apart trying to work on stuff, but now there's dirt everywhere. So when I'm loading this thing, I get dirt all over the roof. Then I drive around, I open the door, and I just get covered in dirt. So all that to say, I'm gonna have to weld something up here, hopefully to keep the dirt from raining down all over the fuel tank. And you know, at one point I thought I was gonna fix this up and paint it and put new wheels and tires and get it really nice, but this thing is just too far gone and I do not want to put that much money into it. I will fix all the leaks and get it more dependable for the road. But it'll never be a show winner. I'll try to fix all these. I'm missing all kind of little reflectors, and I wanted to buy some new wheels for this thing, but really I think I'll probably just try to take these off and sand them or grind them. There's got a lot of concrete on these wheels. It definitely needs tires before I get this thing on the road. These, they have a lot of tread on them, but they are completely dry rotted. The frame is in good shape. Very little rust. Some surface rust, but very little rust. I mean, even the underside of the cab, it's in pretty good shape. It's just been beat up so bad. It's just not even worth fixing all these problems. Oop. I got yellow jackets everywhere. I put these boards on here, which helps me carry more dirt without it falling over the sides. I mean, this thing's been working great when I've been moving dirt around my property. I destroyed this one. I rented an excavator a while back. I made a video on it. I haven't finished editing it yet. A couple months ago. Anyway, I just destroyed this thing. My brother's Kubota L39. It's pretty slow. The hydraulics are slow, and I rented an IHI excavator. Man, that thing is fast. When you're spinning around, the hydraulics are really fast. So you're definitely faster using that little excavator than that Kubota. But I destroyed this thing. I kept hitting it with the bucket. It's all right though. I got some extra boards over there from when I built my house. So we're about to be heading into the fall. Hopefully I'm going to be working on this thing more. My brother's actually building a shop. Hopefully in the next couple of months it'll be done. Nice metal shop. Gonna have a car lift in it at some point, so that will be awesome. I can get this thing over there. I hate laying on the ground working on cars. I've always had a concrete driveway. Right now I have a gravel driveway, and changing the oil, I hate it. It's 10:36 out here on a Saturday morning, and it must be 85 degrees already. It is miserable hot out here. I was gonna cut the grass today, but it's just too hot. Can't do it. I should have got up early this morning Now this thing, it runs good. Obviously it needs some tinkering with. The timing's not right. I'm still missing one of the vacuum lines from the HEI distributor over to the carburetor. But aside from that, it still runs. I don't trust it to go out onto the road, but every time I stall it out because of the clutch and the transmission problems, it fires right up.